and the earth. He giveth life and taketh it, except for him ye have no protector, no helper. And start to call Allah Al-Azim, Allah Al-Azim. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah. Asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya 'alas salat. Hayya 'alas salat. Hayya 'alal falah. Hayya 'alal falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Wa asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lahu wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Allahi wa ashabihi wa aswajihi wa duriyatihi wa ali batihi wa salama tasliman kathir. And the translation of that is, will Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. All praises are due to Allah, whom only we praise and exalt, of whom we seek assistance and forgiveness. We believe in him, and to his will do we trust and resign ourselves. We seek refuge in him from the evil of our soul and our actions. Whomsoever Allah guides, none can mislead him, and whoever do not follow his guidance, there's no guidance for him. I testify that there's none that deserve to be worshipped except one Allah, who is alone. And I bear witness to this fact, that Muhammad, present peace be upon him, is his chosen servant and his messenger. Will Allah send your boundless blessings on Muhammad, on his family, his companions, his wives, his progeny, and all of his relatives. Ameen. The Muslims, as we get ready to go into today's Jumah, the lecture for today, we want to start with just a brief reminder. This is very important that I need to share this with you. And the reason because a lot of times when we're here before you on the rostrum, some things we may say, we may not be conscious of it. And it may elicit a laugh or a chuckle. And so it was brought to my attention one time concerning this very thing that sometimes we do at the Jumah. When we're here before you, we're not trying to make you laugh. That's not the intent. And so if you hear such a thing, do your best not to laugh. Even if I say something funny and it is construed as being funny, we're not to laugh. I'll go into a little bit more detail in a minute about that. I have some words from Imam Muhammad that I know you'll probably respect more than what I'm saying. So I'm going to share with you this commentary regarding this particular subject. And also in regards to the standing for the prayer, when we stand for the prayer, there's a hadith and it reads, narrated by An-Nu'man bin Bashir, radiallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, straighten your robes, or Allah will alter your faces. Now, there are probably a few meanings or translations of this. But when I think about it, and the first thing comes to mind is the changing of the faces. In our faces is where we learn to express. And you ever heard the saying, you don't have to say a word, it's written all over your face. They used to have a song called it. And so when I think about that, faces is connoting a certain disposition, a certain look. It can reflect many things, culturally, philosophically, it can connote many things. But here we're specifically talking about the face of Allah. And so, Allah is talking about straightening out our faces. So when Allah is talking about straightening out the faces, He's talking about our conditions, those things that we look at, those things that we hold true or dear to our heart. If we don't see them right, then they won't be right. And because if we don't pay attention to the little bitty things like the straightening of our robes and the prayer, then not only will Allah make our faces contorted, but that means that our whole disposition, everything that we stand for regarding this religion will be viewed the same way. We won't give the necessary attention to it that is so necessary for our own individual growth, So you have to pay attention to those little bitty things. As it is said, the shaitan now will come at you in the little bitty things. You won't see him coming at you. You won't see the big picture. You won't see shaitan in the big picture. But it's the little bitty thing. It's the nuances that oftentimes we don't pay attention to. And those suggestions will slip in. Now I want to share with you, before we go into the talk, This is regarding also another hadith. The observance of silence and sermon on Friday. Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu, reported Allah's messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as saying, if you ask your companion to be quiet on Friday while the imam is delivering the sermon, you have in fact taught irrelevance. As I said earlier, this was brought to our attention because sometimes we're doing these things, we're saying things over the roster, and it might elicit a response. And we don't want to be guilty of that. We want to keep in mind, dear Muslims, the importance of the Salat itself, the institution. The importance of Salat itself warrants that we give detailed attention to what we're saying all the way up into our actual actions. By not doing so, it, for lack of a better term of expression, it waters down the Salat, it waters down the prayer, it waters down the meaning of it, first and foremost for you as an individual. It takes away what it should mean to you. And then secondly, you're not able to express it in a way that others can follow. This is something we have to be conscious of. So Imam Muhammad, he said, Jumah, it is very serious. Don't laugh.
This little thing,
Story or something that
for
happened.
grass, reading grass killers, $32.
You just chuckled while I was.
Yeah, from court.
You didn't hear me chuckling. There was humor in that, but you did not hear me chuckle. He says, we are physical people. They said,
Yeah, back right here.
those Europeans, they used to criticize us. Europeans, they were silly. Their name. And they didn't like our relaxed way of living and our humor. And they pointed to this as ignorance and a defect in us. They called us monkeys from Africa.
Well, this, you have to open it up to find out.
Even when they're serious, they look like they're playing. So we don't want to give into any of these urges in us to laugh and to be funny or enjoy humor during the fasting time or when there's a cookbook. He said, you watch me, I'm not laughing. Maybe what I say is funny. I'm not laughing. Don't laugh, don't play, especially during the Jumah. It is very serious. When the Jumah cookbook is being given, I don't care how funny it is, you try not to laugh. Be pleasant, but don't laugh. You can put a kind of smile on your face, but don't make a sound and laugh. That's no good. That's not for the congregation. When we're having Jumah, to make these sounds to laugh and chuckle, don't do that. He goes on, he says, in the future, I will be expecting you to obey and not do the things that you are in the habit of doing. We have to break these old habits. I know you enjoy, and I'm slow to say or stop or to correct you because I know you, but don't give in to the humor. Don't give in and start laughing even during the Ramadan, during your fast time, and never during the khutbah. The speech that is given in Jumah on Friday. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us with stronger willpower, a more beautiful and more perfect obedience to him. And that means we're drawing closer to him. And there is no reward better for us than the reward of closeness to God. That's the best reward.
Yeah.
The
So
closer
you
you
do 2 and
the more
2/3.
good comes to us. And everything that needs improvement gets improved. The closer we get to Allah, that's the greatest blessing. And that's what I would like to leave you with and that comment, dear believers. If we want to get close to Allah, we need to gauge our obedience. First and foremost, in order for it to make sense, gauge our obedience to the Prophet. So it means in terms of how we follow, how we study him, how we come to understand him, how we come to know him. We have to first use that as the barometer. We gauge, we see how close we are to exacting the things that he did. In doing so, you are obeying Allah. Now, how do we know this and why is this so? Because the Prophet is the best example. Hands down. Hands down. He is the best example. We look at the world and we see all kinds of people. And someone is always trying to give us the picture of a superhuman. So they got this thing, the Marvel comics, the DC comics, and we're all pretty familiar with them. We read them in our childhood. Some people probably still collecting the tech. That's not the point. The point in the issue is these presentations of superhumans, they're false gods. And when we get into it and allow our children to get into it, we're involving ourselves in shirk. We're involving ourselves in idol worship. Because all of those characters that they show us, first of all, they're mythological. They're not even real. They don't exist. They can't do any of the things that we think of in a normal term. And if they could, I'll just put it like this. Allah would never grant a human being such powers as to fly, see through walls, bullets bounce off. He would never do such a thing. It would be counter and against his will in the way creation is set up. To allow a man to have the power to turn back the hands of time. That's going against Allah's will. So you're going back through time to undo everything that Allah did for personal reasons. This is why that could never happen.
It work the way you want to get it.
You think those kind of powers. But if you want to know, if you really want to know about a superhuman being, that's Muhammad the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Superhuman being. We talking about in terms of physical strength, in terms of intelligence, in terms of spiritual development. Just think about this. Anybody in the world, including yourself, can you think of anyone who ever lived their whole life and completed everything they set out to do? Everything. Everything imaginable. The Prophet set out to do, Allah blessed him to accomplish. That's superhuman. That's Superman. That's a real man. To get out and to be able to do all of the things he did and then do it on what we call the normal level, to exist on a normal level and allow us to see this in the seerah, the history, and it's preserved and it comes down through hundreds and hundreds of years and we get a chance to read this, to experience this. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And now we have something that's real before us, something that we can really emulate, something that we can really imitate. But we'll allow ourselves to get veered off track and start chasing other fantasies. And why is it done? It's all done because we want to be like Allah. See, for some people, it's not just enough to serve Allah. We want to be Allah. So we start erecting those things and building those things and making those things and bringing attention to ourselves to give that particular appearance. Imam Muhammad, he said, in the pursuit of what we call happiness and things of that nature, one of the things he talked about was money. And the reason why he brought it up, because it's a thing that we're preoccupied with. But in doing so, he also told us, he said, we don't need money, not in the sense like you think we do. Yeah, we got to get the roof repaired, we got to get a few things done around here, etc. But not in the way we pursue money, the way the world has taught us to pursue it, to hoard it, to hold on to it, to be stingy with it, to not spend it in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is not what we gain wealth for. That is not what we get money for. So when we get this money, those of us who get this money, first thing we want to do, we want to parlay over it into something else. And the first thing we want to do, we parlay over it into power. So now there's an accumulation of money, not for the sake of money, but for the sake of power. Look at us as a people, talking about the African American, who generates an aggregate income of over trillions of dollars. Was it nine or $10 trillion annually? This is not over the course of a lifetime. This happens annually. So we got money. We got money. What is it doing for us? In many cases, it's slowing us down, it's holding us down because we don't have the right perspective. This is why Allah gave us the institution of zakat. It gives the right perspective of how the money is to be used. You got a certain percentage annually that you donate to zakat. Obligated to. It's a spot, you're obligated to. Anything after that is sadaqah. You're giving sadaqah, you're giving from your heart, you're giving what your conscience directs you to give. But we have to pay the zakat. This we have to do. And why? Because Allah knows that if we don't, we hold on to the money, that becomes one of many sources that corrupts us. It becomes one of many things. And that's what the shaitan is. Remember, that's one of his many definitions. He got many names and many definitions. And one of them is thing, or thing that makes people do wrong. Or many things, which is shaitan, many things that make people do wrong. So we got the money, but we don't use the money right. So we start doing wrong with the money. The money becomes a thing in itself, to the point where now the soul is corrupted. The soul only rests for money. It don't rest for peace. It don't rest for the consolation that only Allah can give. It only rests to use the physical things that money can buy. And so they opted for power. Now when they get to power, there's more abuse. Once again, as I'm speaking, keep referring back to this is why Allah won't give the human being superhuman powers. So now you got this power. And you're going to abuse this power. This power is used wrong. Case in point. Not the money thing, it's a thing about power. And connected to that is influence. How is it that a group in the society of the human being would rise up and promote a man that used to be a man who is now a woman, and then you give this person title of Woman of the Year? This is what corrupt power does. This is how you change the stage, you change the set. And why is it being done? Because they got to make their mark in the world. They have to establish themselves. We know in that lifestyle, that existence, there's no procreation. Two men can't make a child, two women can't make a child. There's no procreation. So they have to use their influence and they have to use their power to overcome your good senses, your common sense. If I turn the corner on that and make you go against your own common sense now, we know, you know, men can't make babies. Two men can't make a baby, two women can't make a baby. But somewhere along the road, you get bombarded and overwhelmed, and you start questioning your own common sense. And then you begin to give into their culture, into their lifestyle, and you begin to accept that. The Muslims, we can't do that. There is no support for that kind of lifestyle in our Islam. We can't do it. This is why the Muslim is the vanguard. Al-Islam is the last vestige in terms of religion that's going to protect our souls, protect us from this kind of activity. Just think about it. If the Muslims, if we didn't have such a strong creed that beats the intelligence and keeps you away from that, then we will be just like our brothers or that calamity that happened to the brothers in the Roman Catholic Church. So now you have over 500 and something priests being accused of abusing over 2,000 children. You can see where I'm going with this. This obedience to Allah is so important. This following the nuances of what the prophet established in his life is so important. This listening to everything that we hear in a khutbah is very important, whether you may find it relevant or not. Sometimes all it takes is that one expression or the one word or the one thing that is said, And it puts everything in perspective for you. This is what we're here for. This is why when we're engaged in prayer, this is the prayer. That's why there's no talking, there's no mingling. There's only focus and attention given to the khatib. The person is up here giving the talk. Then after the talk, then we make the 2 rakahs of the prayer. And that completes the 4 rakahs that we normally would have done if it was Salatul Duha. Look how beautiful Allah has set this thing up. But we don't miss anything. We come to the Jumah prayer thinking, oh, well, where's the Duha? Where's Salatul Duha? Jumah replaces that with an even greater blessing. Because it's a great reminder. It brings us together every Friday. It brings us together as the great reminder to replenish our souls, to replenish our thoughts, to get us back on track. But if we don't respect the process, we can't get the blessings. That's how serious the Jumah is. That's how serious the straightening of the rows is. That's how serious it is that we utter the right words in the prayer. This is why we use the Quran as the prayer. So these very same people now, they get the money, they have the power and influence, and now what comes with that, they get a little prestige. They get some prestige. They get a couple of merit badges. They get some accolades from here and there. They go on a TV show, they go on a talk radio show. Only to do what? To propagate or to push their own concerns, their own selfish concerns, to continue the nonsense that they got going on now. Dear Muslims, this is very important. The Jumah is very important. And we have to convey this to our young people. We can't be so content. We can't be so satisfied that we don't share this message, that we don't take this message. It's the reason why the land was given twice. It's first for those who are in the near vicinity, then the second is for the people on the outskirts. And then Allah, He says, in addition to that, the Prophet says, then once the message is heard, let those who hear it take it to those who did not hear. Why? Perchance they may understand it better than you. So now we have to share this message. It's part of our own propagation process. We can propagate amongst each other, but even more so, we take this message out to the world. And there, my good dear people, is where we are falling apart at. We're not being strong like we should. And that leads us into just a little bit of the talk what we're going to talk about today. That's the 74th surah in the Quran, if I'm not mistaken. And actually what it's talking about is the prophet getting in the mantle, wrapping himself up. But really what's more important in this particular surah is that it was the second surah that was revealed of the Quran. Iqra was first. Then the 74th surah, Mutakabbir, was the second. And why? Because Iqra told the prophet to read. Do what? Read in the name of your Lord. Who created what? Created man. Created him a second time by giving him the Quran. Then it goes on with the rest of the expression. But the second part, but this other surah, Mutakabbir, talks about now that you've read, now that you got some understanding, it's time to stand up. So now you got to get up and go out and take this message to the people. You're going to take this message to the people, regardless to how you feel, what personal things it may have upon you, how it may influence you or direct. But you're going to take this message to the people. You're going to give them this message no matter what. No matter what the soothsayers say, no matter what the big muckety-mucks say, how they come against you, you're going to do this. No matter what even your own personal persecution that you wouldn't do. This was the instructions or the message that the prophet is given in that surah. It's a long surah. And we didn't get a chance to talk about all of it that I would like to. So please tune in for Sunday for the Talim, because we're going to go into stretch into all of this. But dear Muslims, this is important. That we follow the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And what we don't know of him, that we study, that we talk amongst each other, that we consult those amongst us who we make to be scholars. But you can't go around and carry the burden of thinking that you know all of this by yourself. Once again, that's what the Jumah is for. It reminds us. So, dear believers, let's keep this in mind. Let's ask Allah, we're going to pray to him that He forgive us our shortcomings, that He allow the spirit of look is good to come into us, to motivate us, to push us, and above all things, to unite us. Because with this unity, it's hard to accomplish this. Our Lord, let our hearts not be divided now that you have guided us from your own presence. For surely you are the grantor of bounties without measure. Amen. Alhamdulillah, subhanallah, la ilaha illallah, wa la sharika lahu, wa huwa kulli shay'in qadir. As is understood, that we should understand it, the second part of the khutbah is dedicated to community life, talking about the community life. So I'm gonna do one little small thing. Normally our brother will come up here and give the announcements. I'm gonna rob him today. It is only because of the commentary that I want to share with you all about what's coming up. As you know, next week we're gonna have the Pioneer Social. It's extremely important that we get this supported. Our pioneers are a national treasure. And if you don't see that, I don't know really what to tell you, other than you might have been born too late. And that's not a bad thing. What we mean by born too late is that if you came to the last generation, meaning the generation of our children and our grandchildren, you might not understand why we say that the pioneers are a national treasure. Because at this point, you only understand what mommy and daddy showed you in religion. You didn't get a chance, you might not have been blessed with a chance to intimately know personally a pioneer on your own. And so we have to put this information out there. We have to let it be known why they're a national treasure. Because they came at a time where this thing was so hard, the understanding of Islam, the practice of it, not so much as the understanding, but the practice of it. Because back then there wasn't a lot of understanding, but it was a lot of faith, a lot of strong faith. And they poured that faith into all the actions and all the activities. But at this very place, he from Baja, it's named after one of those pioneers. This brother was a junk man. He hauled junk, in which most people would look down on it as a profession. They would look at him and, man, he must be broke all the time. But there are people here who knew him, who've seen him. And when he would come to the Talim, well, we didn't call it Talim back then. He would come to the Sunday service, as they say, dead out. So clean, so sharp, so presentable, so upright. You forget all about him being a junk man. And he gave generously to this community. He spent his wealth building this community. And we have many business people who spend their time, they spend their wealth, they spend their energy helping to build this community. And sometimes it goes unnoticed. And it's not that they want that, but in respecting the law, we should give that kind of recognition to our business people, to our educators, and once again, come full circle, especially to our pioneers. They paved the way for a lot of the things that we are enjoying right now in this religion. That we were able to get laws on the books because of what they did. Remember, some of them went to jail. They were in prison for refusing to uphold the so-called laws of this land. They went to jail for refusing to go into the military draft service. Why? Because what they believed in was strong. They believed in the message that was given to them by a leader who only had a third-grade education. But Allah gave him such an immense blessing. And it was so big and so powerful that it enveloped the whole people. That's wonderful. Just think about that. This little man, third-grade education, was given this powerful message. And even though it was devoid of a lot of substantive things, we still got here today. We were still able to make it here today but we only made it here today by way of the pioneers because they were interpreting this for us. They was living this the best way they can. So don't frown, don't get a scowl on the face or anything like that when it comes to service, when it comes to recognition, and when it comes to thinking about the pioneers. We need to support this dinner, and not just this dinner, but anything we're doing here. Please, believers. And I know a lot of times we got to come back and we tapping on the same points. Sometimes we got 4 people going after one person to sell a ticket. Okay, sometimes we do. But that's out of sincerity, and it's because we are growing small in numbers. So now the message goes to you the young people. You see this going on. You need to find your place, find your niche in this great work that we're doing, because it could soon come to an end. As Allah has said in the Quran, and I see it as a promise when He says, if you don't want this, give it to somebody else. He'll give it to another people. Now, it won't all happen at once. It's going to happen just as the Hadith is predicted it would happen. It said there'll come a time when the real scholars, they're going to leave by way of death, or they're just going to fade out to nothing. Then it's going to be a group that's going to come behind them. They won't be heavy in knowledge. They won't be real scholars. They'll be the ones to mislead the people away from the religion. That's what I have. So our young people, we really need to take the reins of this particular horse, this special horse. Ride this horse. Ride this animal into the destination or the destiny that is promised to us, and is promised to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we all in this together, as it's been said, we all in this together. We just got to keep finding a way to unify. We got to get rid of the generation gap, the age gap, all of that stuff, and all of those isms. They should never be a part of this religion anyway. We got to shut that stuff down. If we do, we're going to be a successful people. And the only way we can be a successful people, we have to get back in love with work. We have to love work. We have to be the kind of people who love to work. And I mean across the board in everything that we do, Islamically speaking, we got to fall back in love with that kind of work. If we do, Allah has already promised us success. He says to the believers, success is already come. It's already there. The promise is already there. We have to fulfill it. We have to earn it. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to fall out the sky like they asked for manna and quail. It's not coming down like that. It's coming down as the answer. It's going to be rain down. Anzala is going to come down like the rain comes down from the sky. The physical rain comes down from the sky. It does the beautiful things to the earth. From it, we say we get what? Herbage and foliage, and we get all kinds of fruits and vegetables of all kinds of colors, things that we can eat. That's a reflection on the character of the human being. When Allah sends down the revelation and we soak it up, we get all kinds of beautiful things from it, out of our character, out of our nafs, our souls. And we're able to express this in such a way that Allah comes to love you and you come to love Him. So we come back full circle to what I talked about in the beginning. This particular obedience is crucial, dear Muslims. We gotta take it serious. When we come here, this point on, take the Jumah serious. We gotta try to be on time if we can. I told you this parable before. It says, the people who get here early, get here on time, they're given the blessing that's equivalent to that of a cow. Then the ones who come later, they just a little late, they're given the equivalent of the blessing that's equivalent that's tantamount to a goat or sheep. People that come in real late, you get about 10 minutes for the service ends. You are here and your blessing is going to be tantamount to that of a chicken. So if you want more to eat than a chicken, we got to get here to the Jumah to eat this meal that's coming from the rostrum, from whoever Allah blesses to be up here. We got to support our efforts. We got to support all of the activities that are going on here. Last but not least, and I'm saying this because we got some young people here, some of my grandchildren are here, so I'm saying this in front of them so they know. We got to get a school. I'm so sorry. We don't have school for y'all yet. So we're gonna work on it. That's painful. I mean, it hurts me to the core. If out of all the Islamic things in our Islamic life, that bothers me more than anything. We don't have a school here in Chicago. So I can't say we don't have a school. We just don't have a school established in Chicago on the level that we need to. We got some education going on, not taking away, not knocking anybody that's doing anything about Islamic education. We got different ways of addressing and approaching. But we need an institutionalized, formalized school, traditional school, building and all, with the books and the teachers, etc. That's what we got to work on. Now, if that be our mission, we can accomplish everything that we talked about earlier. But the reason why it's so hard and difficult, because we have not institutionalized education. If the 5 pillars are an institution, then what more for education? Education is an institution. And in order for us to come and be acquainted with the 5 pillars, to know it in an intimate way, we should, a formal way, not informal, we need the school. We need a school. And you don't have to be a scholar to be a teacher. Just have the desire. Just study enough that what you know, you can pass it on. That's what the prophet said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He told those who were captives in war, he said, you teach a couple of people, you teach them something about this religion, you get your freedom. And that same thing applies to us. When we learn and when we teach, we get freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from oppression. Freedom from the shaitan. Because we're preaching the right thing and we're learning the right thing. So let's take this seriously, dear Muslims. Because if we don't, surely we'll be marked as those who have failed. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Our Lord, give us good and excellence in this life and good and excellence in the life to come, and defend us from the torment of the fire. I mean, come to survive.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat, hayya ala salat. Qamatu salat, qamatu salat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Once again, make sure our rows are straight. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. الله أكبر الله أكبر. سامي الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إلى في قريش إلى في بلاد الشتاء والصيف لا يعبد الرب هذا البيت الذي آتمه من جوع وأمنه من خوف الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. ذكر الله سبحان 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 الله الله ذكر الله سبحان الله الحمد لله 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 Alhamdulillah, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. Allahu akbar. Allahu akbar. Allahu akbar. Allahu akbar. Allahu akbar. Allahu akbar. Also, the young was people put out all the shows, it's great, man. Rather than like how you think of the parliament, my Lord, it was not a trial, it was a practice. Rather than shit, I thought about that. My Lord, you move the penalty from us, but we are opposed to the people. Rather than like to do the night, I had the deep enough for how to do the our Lord, let our heart come to divide and not guide us, with awareness of the presence of the divine guidance. Rather than acting like in your passing, but the ability passing, while it's not that. Our Lord, with the feeling essence, this life, the tempest in the nice time, the tempest of the right. Now, this is the This will be another one to share some of this right quick. When we're in the balance position, we're making sooner. And when we are finishing off the prayer and we're making that particular vicar. Keep in mind that the Prophet sallam, he would pick up all 99. All 99 of the attributes, or if you got the beads, he would go through all 99 of them. We short it, and we do it because we never really developed the habit of appreciating that because we think it's lengthy. It takes a long time to go through those 99 figures. But we do need to know why it's done. We do need to be conscious of that. That's why it's done. We just shorten it. So when you're making a vicar, and it should be of an odd number. It should be 7 or 11 or 9, something like that. Preferably 11. The 11 goes in sync with those 99 beads. You got 33, 33, and 33. So if you're not doing 33, 33, and 33, then you just want to do 33. So you do 11, 11, 11. That. So I just wanted to share that with you. So we need to be conscious of those kind of things because sometimes we'll get involved in something and we think it's spotted. We think we're supposed to do it. And it's not necessarily so. There's something that would be mahfuz or something that the property approves of. He didn't necessarily give a comment one way or the other. So we have to make sure that we understand those things in the future going forward. So we don't just be engaged in practices and not have the meaning behind it. I just wanted to share that with you once again. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Takbir. We want to thank you, ma'am, Tabir, for that excellent goodbye. And as I always say, brothers and sisters, it's not what you hear at the goodbye, it's what you do with what you hear. Put it into your hearts, put it into your lives, and take this message out to others. I got a few announcements I'd like to make right quick before you make your sooner prayers. Try to be brief as I can. Tickets are now available for our Pioneer Social on June the 10th. Honoring the legacy. Tickets are $25 for adults, $10 for youth, and for youth 13 to 18, and free for children up to 12. So please see one of the planning committee members if you need tickets. The planning committee members, can you raise your hand so we'll know who you are? So please see some of them for the tickets. Our next birthday celebration will be tomorrow from 1 to 4 o'clock p.m. It will be a potluck, so bring a dish to share. There will be dancing, games, and good entertainment for everyone. So please plan to come and bring a friend. The Ifan Baha Culture Center will be hosting a single to married social on July the 15th for Muslims from age 20 to 30, from 3 to 7. So there's a $10 cover charge. It can be paid at the door. It would be an opportunity to meet new like-minded people in an Islamic environment and possibility of marriage. So please invite your Muslim friends in that age group to join us. So it's going to be coming up pretty fast. We're going to have a planning meeting for the single to married soldiers. Going to be on the 17th. So we invite you to come out to help us to make this a success for our youth. And thank you to everyone who has been donating to our roof fundraiser and repairs for the building. We are in need of a complete roof repair. I think the renovations are going on as we speak. If you'd like to help in our renovation, you can donate to our PayPal on our website at ebahacenter.com, or you can donate using your credit card or as a cop envelope, just right over there for roof repair. And may you be blessed for your donation. We also have allowed chickens, allow African sausages and patties, allow bacon, delicious canned sardines, shea butter, laundry detergent, toilet paper, and other items for your convenience. Also, don't forget, Sister Gertie has did peach cobbler today, bean pies, oatmeal raisin cookies, butter cookies, chocolate chip cookies. Please support the sisters. She's been up literally all night making these goods. Please support them. Don't forget to pick up your Muslim journal. If you don't have a current issue, please purchase a back issue and give it to a friend or neighbor. We must support our newspaper. Brothers and sisters, many sacrifices have been made to keep this paper going. It's an excellent dollar too, a lot of information in this month's return. Give one to your friend or your neighbor. And please continue your prayers for all those that are sick and shut in. Give them a call. They would love to hear from them. If you have any announcement, please text them to Sister Secretary Shirley Aziz at 312-305-6113. Thank you, and assalamu alaikum. Where's my song? We'll run to the top. Okay.